So I want to make sure that I clear the air in regards to blurring the lines when it comes to consent versus non-consent. Okay. I think that's important that we are having these open discussions and having these conversations with one another. Shout out to Dee Durrell. I did listen to about 40 minutes of the video. I didn't get a chance to finish that because I am working today. But I did listen to the video, and there are three things in that video that you brought out that I did want to talk about real quick. So I'm going to do that with you guys. Okay. Let's get into it.
This Black Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
What's up, loungers? I hope everybody is doing great this afternoon. Shout out to you guys. I really appreciate you guys for being in the building. I see you guys in the clouds, and there is somebody that had just made a comment. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Hey, eyes, what's going on? Hey, sometimes, what's happening? Really appreciate you guys being in the building. Shout out to y'all. I'm going to go ahead and be brief. I'm not going to be long on this because I don't think it requires a long-winded conversation. But there were 3 points that Darrell brought up in his video that I didn't get to watch live. I wish I did, because I actually would have went on the panel if I was there, but I didn't get a chance to because I've been pretty busy this morning at work. Either way, let me go ahead and get into the 3 things that stood out to me the most in the first 38 minutes of this video. Okay. So the one thing that he said was he did finally admit that this information that we got was predatory. Okay. That the actions of Binary was predatory. It was about 38 minutes and 55 seconds into the video. It was pretty long, a long extended period of time of what felt like gaslighting for an extended period of time. And then he finally just said, you know what, it is predatory. Let's just keep it a bean. Thank you for that. The second thing that you brought up was that men and women often never talk about traumas. You know, he said there was several men within the sector and other places that often don't talk about, you know, past trauma or past, you know, being molested or something happening to them as a child, whether it be from a woman or a man. Okay. And they don't talk about these things. He said, especially Black men. And, you know, they don't talk about these experiences and never call the cops or anyone else, which is why I was confused when during the gaslighting portion of it, when you were saying, you know, that, well, we're not going to just say, you know, hey, these women are, they called the cops, or, you know, these women, you know, Binary didn't do this. What you said was Binary did not do this, and you know, he's not a predator, because if he was, those women would have had him in court. And then you said that and I had to rewind that a couple of times to hear what you really said, because I was like, what did you say? And you said those women would have had him in court. And I was like, wow. And before I could even repeat what you were, before I could say or think what you actually said, you said in response to that was, well, we're not going to say now, you know, that most people don't call the cops, or most people don't call, you know, get in, you know, take people to court, or most people don't come forward. We're not going to say that because y'all don't really know. Y'all are only projecting what your feelings are towards what has happened to you, or towards something that you have experienced, and you're projecting that on his quote unquote victims, is the wording that you used. And you said we're projecting that on Binary. Okay. So I know I just said a lot, but it was crazy because you actually said also that men and women do not call the cops. So, like, which one are we doing? Okay. Are we going to say that men and women who have experienced such traumas do not usually come forward about such things because they know, like you said, in the court of law, it takes a lot to actually prove that. Okay, I'm so glad that you brought those points up, because that is the points that we're trying to make. It is so difficult to prove sexual deviancy from someone in the court of law. Okay, it's very difficult to prove that someone has done something to you as a child, or someone has done something to you even as an adult in the court of law. And the reason is because the law protects predators. Okay, it generally does protect predators. Okay, now you know this because you are a therapist. You know this because you have dipped and dabbed in these types of situations, or you have been around this type of thing. So you're aware of the law. Okay, and you're aware of how the law affects predators and how the law affects victims. Okay, so far in this situation between myself, between Carrie Ann, between Alan Logic, I haven't heard between JJ, like, I haven't heard any of these people projecting feelings of their own or their personal experiences with binary regarding this situation. What I've heard people do is respond to binary's video. Okay, I've heard people respond to what binary said, and you even yourself, Darrell, said he was wrong. Okay, now it took you 38 minutes and 55 seconds to finally say that this can be deemed as predatory. Okay, so I'm not sure where any of us are wrong for speaking on that matter. None of us are saying that we are the judge and the jury in the situation. None of us are saying that we are the ones that are going to put him in jail, or we're going to do any of that stuff. But this is a story that he told the sector. Okay, every single word that he said is all people have used. He said how the victims had responded and everything. He said what he wanted to do in regards to the situation to mitigate the problem and everything. He is the one that told this story. I've said that so many times. It's not like one of us are telling this story for him. He told the story. Okay, so I'm not sure why we're blurring the lines of consent. Okay, because these women said, according to binary, because this was binary's video. This wasn't somebody else making a video about binary. This was binary saying he touched these women. And hold on, that was another portion that you said in your video that I have to address. Because you said you had asked the men, I wrote this down because I was like, wow, this is crazy. You had asked the men if they had ever been to an event. And yeah, you said, have they ever been to an event and, came in and scoped out the room, checked out the room, and, decided there was somebody they wanted to talk to, and they came up and talked to them, to proposition them. He said he wanted to know from the men if that was normal. That's absolutely normal. That's normal for men and women. Okay, that's absolutely normal. See, the difference was talk to, not touch. Okay, talk to, talk, TALK, not touch. Okay, there's a total difference in scoping the room so you can find someone to proposition, come and chill, bust it up with, talk to, sit down, have a little drink, relax. That's absolutely normal, but that's not what binary told us. See, what he told us was he came in, he scoped out, he already knew these women, knew who they were. He went up to them, he touched the small of their back and touched their thighs 3 different times throughout this event at his house. These women are friends of his wife. They are married women. Okay, his ex-wife. They are married women. And if they consented to this, well, then why did he tell us that they threw his hands off of their thighs, that one of them froze up and stared at him in disbelief, and the other one stood up and did a record-scratching moment? I don't know how that sounds like consent. But like you said, Darrell, anyone could deem that as predatory because it was predatory. That's just the bottom line. Like, no matter how much you dance around it, no matter how much you want to protect his feelings, protect Stargate's feelings and all that stuff, at the end of the day, it was predatory behavior. And you agree with us because you said that. 38 minutes, and it took you 38 minutes and 55 seconds of gaslighting the entire sector over this until you finally said you couldn't say anything else. It is predatory. It can be deemed as predatory. If someone was to look at this in law enforcement, they could deem that as predatory. But we are not law enforcement. Most of us are not. And we have no intentions of taking him to the courts in regards to this matter. It doesn't matter. We're not the law. We're not the judge and the jury. But we have absolutely every single right to form an opinion about this. And we have the right to speak on it. Because this is what he told us. I didn't make this up. Carrie Ann didn't make this up. Photon didn't make this up. QT1 didn't make this up. None of us are making this up. JJ didn't make this up. Bombay didn't make this up. Binary told this story on camera, on video, on live. Like, there's no getting around that. I appreciate you telling him that he's wrong. I absolutely do. And I agree. You do not have to agree with all of us, and we don't have to agree with you. We can agree to disagree on various topics, and that's fine. That's what adults do. It's okay to do that. I appreciated the way that you presented that in your sense. I didn't listen to the rest of it because I first of all, I got to get back to work. And second of all, I just can't. Okay. But thank you for at least admitting that it is predatory. I mean, there's no other really thing to say about it. Let me get to you guys' comments real quick, and then I am going to go ahead and go back to work. Okay. You said, woo, the sector is on fire. You said, what's good, y'all? Hey, Germ, I appreciate you being in here. Conscious Energy, what's going on? You said, Germ on the board, peace and love, peace and love. Conscious Energy. Germ, you say, yo, what's good in Houston? Conscious Energy, talking to him. All right, Speakeasy, you said, if they consented, why did he have to apologize the next day? Exactly. That was another thing. Like, he is the one that told us this story about this situation. None of us are making this up. None of us are doing any of that. So I'm not really sure still. Like, I am still confused why you're jumping out the window for him on this. You know what I'm saying? Considering the fact that you even think it can be deemed as predatory. Like, I don't understand, what you're upset about with regards to our opinions on this. Yeah. Hey, QT, what's going on? I appreciate you being in here. You said, I thought YouTube was for opinions and ideas. He can't stop anyone from forming opinions about his story. Exactly. Like, where are they doing that at? He said the thigh rub and the record scratch were the same woman he assaulted multiple times. Exactly. Like, how is this not assault? How is this not battery? Like, he actually did it. So it was battery. Why didn't go for a woman he already cheated with you don't approach a new woman in that manner to cheat, in my opinion. Exactly. Like, I'm just saying, we're adults in here. Okay. If you want to get down with the get down, you want to get with somebody, there's ways to do that. Like, without being a creep, without being a predator. Like, y'all can take whatever words and twist and say this. Like, listen, we're not doing that. The brother is a predator. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying that allegedly or anything because it came out of his mouth. This story came out of his mouth. Okay. That is not slander. Slander is when you make up a story about somebody. I'm not making up a motherfucking thing. I haven't heard nobody in the sector make up anything about him. All we have done is form an opinion based off of what he said. Okay? Like, get mad, feel some type of way, it doesn't matter. Okay? All of that is irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. As far as people, not calling the cops and all of that stuff is irrelevant because right now we're not talking about something that is in the court of law. We are talking about a specific individual in our space, okay, that has violated multiple women. And he has told us that he violated multiple women, okay? And that's just that. Like, we're not going to feel sorry for him. We're not going to go through this whole breaking down. Like, the only thing I really honestly did tune in for the show is because I thought you were going to finally give an analysis of, like a clinical analysis of sexual predators. Okay. And I would love to hear that. I don't know. Maybe you did in the rest of the live, but I don't know. I just couldn't anymore after the 38 minutes. But thank you for at least admitting that yes, that this was predatory and can be deemed as predatory. So, because that's all we've been saying. You said, why didn't he go for a woman he already cheated with? You approached. Oh yeah, I said that. And then you said, if the touches were normal, he wouldn't have mentioned them. He wouldn't have made a video at all. None of this would have even came out or anything. He wouldn't have even talked about it. And then you said, facts you seek and circle back to pounce. That is a predator. Exactly. Like, you went through the whole mulberry bush. We done went around the desert with no water. You know what I'm saying? Like, Darrell ain't even give us no water on that damn shit. Darrell, you took us through the mulberry bush with no water. Okay? Come on. You can't be doing us like that. You can't be doing us like that, Darrell. You gotta at least give us some water, bro. You said, right, yeah. And then you said, we do all know that he's bringing back up for more attention. Yeah, of course. I expected D. Darrell to give the men clear guidance on how to get consent as a therapist. Exactly. Like, I thought that's what we were tuning in for. I thought we were getting, but we got like a whole 38-minute gaslight until you finally said, hey, what's up, Make a Change? Until you finally said, hey, yeah, that can be deemed as predatory. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, D. Darrell. I really appreciate you for that. He said, consent was hard to gauge and left it at that. I hope he doubles back to that. Yeah, because that's deep, man. Like, I think we out here blurring lines, and I think that is very, very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous, especially someone who's in that field and who's dealing with that. So again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I love you, Darrell. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but hey, bro, yeah, that's how I feel about that. I think that you kind of missed the mark here. But you got on mark, okay, at 38 minutes and 55 seconds. Okay, you definitely got on mark with that. But you did mention, some great things that, like, hey, men and women are not ever, usually are not talking about these kinds of things because they're afraid of talking about it because most people are going to look at them and say, you're wrong, you're lying. No, you're not. This is not true. And everything else. And now they have to go through the process, the mental anguish of proving it in a court of law. And, you understand what I'm saying? Like, that is heavy. That's very, very heavy. And I think you understand that as a therapist. I think you understand that. So again, not sure where the gaslighting is coming from, but you're gaslighting us for having empathy for these women, as we should. That is normal. That's what people should do. It has nothing to do with being a victim or any of that stuff. I'm not even sure if, like, I had been victimized as a child, but I also received treatment for that. I received therapy. I went through a series of things over that. But I think the other people who are talking about binary, they've never said anything about anything like that. I know Alan Logic has never said he was abused as a child. I know Carrie Ann never said she was abused as a child. Anybody else that's in the, Spottum, none of these people are saying that they've been abused as a child. You understand what I'm saying? And I wasn't even abused as a child. I just, I went through a situation. And yeah, so I'm not sure where that, that almost sounded very Stargate-ish, like to say, oh, you're projecting, these people are projecting what they are feeling towards their victimizer, towards the person who has victimized them. They're projecting those feelings on binary. And I'm like, yeah, you really reaching, bro. Like, I appreciated the analysis and the whole, therapeutic conversation, but listen, no, that I don't think that's what was going on. I don't think people are projecting their feelings. I think honestly, people are forming an opinion off of what he said. Okay, like literally, I cannot. It's just so funny, and it's so amazing that this binary, no matter the fact that he privated the video is still out on YouTube. Okay, so people can still see it for themselves. That binary is the one that told this story. Okay, like he did not tell. Like, it's funny because now we have a bunch of people adding parts to it. Now we have people who are adding consent. We have people who are adding, that the women were this age. We have people that are adding that they were swingers, adding that there's so many different parts of this story that he could have told when he first told the story, since he claims it was a teachable moment. Okay, that he never told. Okay, he never told those parts of the story until he got feedback on what he said. And then he started adding stuff, and he was adding something new every single time he told the story again. Okay. Like, we're not going to pretend that that's not what happened. So nobody's projecting anything. He literally did this to himself, and that's unfortunate for him. But, it is what it is. You said, yeah, I really hope D. Durrell comes with some useful, clear guidance. Maybe he did it and I missed it. I was in and out. Yeah, maybe he did too, and I could have missed it as well because I just couldn't take any more of the gaslighting. Like, it was crazy. And then you said, how can you expect victims to come forward when you see how the community protects predators like binary? Exactly. People enjoy his company and they give him a pass. And it's funny because, you know what, Durrell, you even said, oh, he's an innocent man. He lives in Arizona. He's a family man. And everything you said, I'm like, okay, so everything you said, are you saying that that all family men that live in Arizona, like, there's no predators in Arizona? Okay. And that, they're a family man. So they're, because family men can be predators. Yeah, there was this one guy, I remember, he's in jail now, or I think they gave him the electric chair or something. He was out here killing women and killing kids all times of the night, and would go home with his wife and everything, like every day, go home with his wife and his daughter. One time there was another guy who had he had rape victims like all in the basement and stuff, and it was like out in this shed, and he would go back in the house and hang out with his wife and kid, take his kid to school, all that shit. And then he'd go outside, rape the women, and then come back in. Like, yeah, niggas is crazy. Okay. We're not going to pretend that stuff like this is not happening. And if you are saying that you have experienced seeing the worst of these types of crimes, in your field, then I would see, I can understand. I can't understand how, we're being gaslit for that. That's just crazy. But yeah, okay. You know, how do you expect people to come forward, when you got people like that? You said I was never abused as a child, and I think it's whack to call our history into question. None of us confess crimes. Exactly. Exactly. I'm actually the only person that talked um, about what happened to me, and that was for helping people. Okay, that was to help anyone else that's been through something like that. And I have several, subscribers and even members, from other sectors. It's not just here. Okay. Um, yeah, you said we have no discernment now. Exactly. Yeah. Get armed and trained. Exactly. Spot them the only way. You said it's essential that Black women carry. Absolutely. You said my old neighbor was doing that. Exactly. I remember you telling us that story, TMK, that the old neighbor was molesting kids, and everybody liked that person. Everybody thought they were a great person. The person that had molested me everybody loved that person. They thought this person was the most amazing person in the world, family man, hardworking. Never drunk in front of people, and stuff like that. Yeah. So let's, again, I appreciated you finally, after taking us through the desert, you did finally say yes, this can be deemed predatory. And it is what it is, and you understand why the women and the men have come to the conclusion that we have. So I appreciated that. I am going to go ahead and get my ass back to work. I appreciate you guys. I only got a few more minutes. Well, probably like an hour. I'll probably get out of there. Get out of here. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. But thank you guys for tuning in, and peace. Thank you guys for watching.